Are we ready to go? All right. Well, welcome everyone. It's Wednesday night, time for Course Spotlight, and Kathy Lawson, Chief Knowledge Officer of the Great Discovery. And I love these sessions because this is our opportunity to learn from our network, right? We have such great content and great course creators, and there's so much rich content. And here's an opportunity for us to learn from some of our peers, our community. And as Tim said before, if you are a course creator, you can have the opportunity to present your course material, your content on these sessions as well. So please make sure you sign up for one if you have a course that you'd like to promote. But tonight we have Matt DiMaio, which is it's always a pleasure to have Matt here. And for those of you that don't know him, he is really amazing. He has done so much. And so let me just introduce him to you. Now he's in his 5th decade of producing attention-getting results. He has dedicated himself to creating a positive, lasting difference in the lives of students of all ages, including adult learners. He is a Guinness World Record certificate holder, author of a #1 bestseller on Amazon, and recipient of YouTube's Silver Play Button Award. He is the creator of the popular YouTube channel Be Smarter Faster. Matt teaches mental tricks, tactics, and techniques that speed up your ability to learn everything and anything easier than you ever imagined possible. These skills are currently helping millions of students internationally and have gained him an enthusiastic worldwide audience. I know I always feel smarter just listening to what he has to say. So I can't wait to what he's going to tell us tonight. It's all yours, Matt.
Well, thank you, Dr. Kathy. Thank you, Tim, Sandra, James, and everybody who participated, Bree, earlier tonight. First of all, I have a promise for all of you. Many of you have seen or heard me speak before, but tonight I'm going to show you some stuff that you've never seen me do. Unlike most other speakers who will tell you about what it is that they do and maybe what they can get you to do, tonight I am going to get you to prove to yourselves just how good your memory really is. But let me ask you a question. The Great Discovery is an e-learning platform. What do you mean when you say learning? Think about it for a moment. Let me ask you this. If you finish a course or go through a presentation or read a book and you can't remember what you just read, or you can't remember the content of the course, can you say you learned anything? Nope. And so almost everybody understands that memory is a master skill. But I want you to think back to all of the years that you were in school. You would have the teacher wag their finger at you and say, remember this. This is important. Remember it. And they never showed you how. As if you just got to figure out your own way. Well, let me ask you a couple of other questions. You personally, have you ever met people and 5 minutes later can't remember their names? Have you ever put down your keys, your wallet, your eyeglasses, and then later on had to ransack your house looking for them? You had to play treasure hunt. Have you ever parked your car in the lot and then later on fly into a panic because you don't remember where? Did you ever leave the office or leave your house only to remember too late that you left that important paperwork behind? Folks, what we're talking about here is not some theoretical thing that might be good to know how to do. We're talking about stuff that can impact your life every single day. You've heard this a million times. I want you to complete this statement. To be a success in life, it's not just what you know, it's right, who you know. How did you remember that? It's a serious question. How did you remember that? Well, you've heard it enough times. When was the last time you heard it? Well, probably not that recently. So tonight, what we're going to talk about is why you remember certain things and not other things. I am also going to have you perform a practical demonstration of superhuman memory power for yourself. Now, a lot of you have seen me do something that Tim mentioned earlier. That's my long number demonstration. I'm not going to do that tonight. I've got something new for you. But the long number demonstration is one of my signature moves where I put a ridiculously long string of numbers on the board. Literally, it's 10 digits in 3 rows, a total of 30 digits. And then I challenge you as my audience to be able to remember it forwards and backwards from the middle to the 2 ends. And then the total amount of time it takes me to teach you how to do it is less than 3 minutes. Now, anytime I do this demonstration at the beginning, people are always looking at me going, I don't care what the guy with the funny mustache has got to tell me. I can't do that. And 3 minutes later, you can all do it. And here's the key word: effortlessly. You see, it's not that you have a bad memory. You really don't. You have a great memory. You have an impossibly powerful memory. And I'll prove that to you in just a moment. What you don't have is a system. What you don't have is a strategy. So let me ask you a couple of questions. Think back to when you were in grade school. Okay, for some of you, that is a lifetime ago. Think back to when you were in grade school. What was the name of your best friend? Do you remember it? I'll bet you do. When was the last time you thought of them? Well, how in the world did you remember their name from literally decades ago when you can't remember the name of the guy you just met at a networking party? What's the difference? Who was your favorite school teacher? Who was your favorite teacher in high school? I'll bet you remember their name. But yet it's been decades since you've thought of them. Well, why do you remember them? And again, not somebody that you met at a training meeting or not somebody you met at a cocktail party. So we're going to get into this process. But before I start to try and teach you stuff, I want you to understand this is a basic training that I do to give you a foundation, not on what causes you to remember stuff, but why you forget stuff now. If you understand what's causing the problem, you're more than halfway to solving it. So rather than talking about memory, I want to give you a crash course in the 3 causes of forgettery. What causes you to forget stuff? So, if you have the ability to take notes, I recommend it. I recommend that you take some handwritten notes. And we'll talk about that in a moment as to why handwriting as opposed to typing or just sitting here listening to me. And if you're just going to listen to me, pay attention, as my belated little grandmother used to say, pay attention. So, the 3 causes of forgettery. The first cause of forgettery is you don't get it in the first place. To forget is to not get. Just like to forego is to not go. Oh, I'm going to forego that idea. Oh, I ain't going there. If you don't get it, you can't keep it. So let's talk about you're at a cocktail party or you're at a training. You're joining us in Tennessee. And you meet people at the meeting and you're introducing yourself and the person says, hey, I want to introduce my friend to you, Mr. Blah, blah, blah. And you nod and smile and go, hey, yeah, hi, nice to see you, nice to meet you. You didn't get the name. There's no way to remember it. There's no way to keep it if you didn't get it to begin with. Okay. What is the second cause of forgettery? And that is that you don't care. And if I'm allowed to read your thoughts, you're saying, but Matt, I care. Well, there's caring. And then there's caring enough to do something about it. It's like the overweight person sitting on the couch eating potato chips and drinking Coke. You know, they care that they're overweight, but not enough to change their diet or go out and do some exercise. And so what I teach is kind of a mental filing system. Have you ever wondered why stuff that you just learned is easy to remember and stuff that you learned a week or 2 or 3 weeks ago is harder to remember? What's going on there? Why is stuff that's a little bit older harder to remember than brand new stuff? And I have a visual image for you. I call it the pile versus the file. Imagine, if you will, you go into your doctor's office for your appointment, and the nurse who's doing the intake greets you and then has to go looking for your medical records. Well, what do? They go into the medical records room, and suppose there were no filing cabinets in there. Suppose they took all of the medical records and just threw them into a big pile on the floor. Now, is your medical record in that pile? Yeah, somewhere. Good luck finding it. It's there. So you didn't lose it. You just can't access it when you need it. So what does the medical receptionist do? They don't throw it into a big pile. They take an extra moment and stick your file into a cabinet in an orderly fashion. Why? So they can find it when they need it. Now, let me ask you this. Does it take a little bit of extra effort to stick the file into the filing cabinet rather than just tossing it onto a pile? Sure. But what's really less work? The pile or the file? Well, the file is a little bit of, having to do the filing up front. Yeah, there's a little bit of extra effort, but just a little bit. Well worth it compared to having to go crazy trying to look for stuff in that big file. So in your mind, the stuff that's on top of the pile is the stuff you just recently learned. But the stuff that you threw onto that pile last week or last month, that's further down in the pile. The reason that you can't find it is you didn't put it away in an orderly fashion. So when I talk about that you have to care, you have to care enough to actually take a moment to do some filing. And we're going to talk about some simple ways of doing that here tonight. But let me tell you the third cause of forgettery. So quick review. The first cause of forgettery is if you don't get it, you can't keep it. The second cause of forgettery is things like, oh, I must be getting the Alzheimer's. Please don't say that to yourself. My mother passed away from it. Oh, I can always remember a face, but I can never remember a name. Oh, my memory stinks. Oh, I'm terrible at remembering names. Folks, when you say that stuff to yourself, that is not the result of a bad memory. Get this. That's not the result of it yourself. I have problems remembering people's names. Not either. So what do you say to yourself? You begin to say things that encourage your correct behavior. Tell yourself the outcome that you want. So when you meet the people at that barbecue, at that social, at that network training, at the Chamber of Commerce meeting, at the Elks Club, when you meet them, pay attention, really get their name. If it's a difficult name, ask them to repeat it. Many times I'll ask people to spell it. Sometimes I'll engage people in a conversation about the ethnic origins of their name, especially if they have a name that I've never heard before. People love to talk about their names. It shows that you care. You care about them, they'll care about you. Remember, you've heard this so many times. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And so one of the most valuable things that you can have is a network of contacts. And so when you're getting the name, get it, care, and then here's what you say to yourself. How can I remember that person? Ooh, that person had an interesting name. How can I remember them? Now, let me tell you a little bit about how you do it now. Have you ever noticed that for some people it's easy to remember their names, and other people it's just like a... Let me ask you this. What's the name of, do you have a brother or sister? What's the name of your brother or sister? I have a brother named Mark. If I meet somebody else named Mark, I don't have to use any special technique. I go, oh, Mark, like my brother. Both of my parents were named Pat, Uncle Pat and Aunt Patty. Guess what? Neither one of them was a Patrick, or a Patricia. My father, his real name was Pasquale. My mother, get this, was Pasqualina. No joke. My father was born on Easter Sunday, April 20th. As a matter of fact, my dad would have been 101 years old this past Easter Sunday. Pasquale, la Pasqua, the Easter in Italian. My mother was born the year before, on Good Friday, Pasqualina, Little Easter. So you can listen to the sound of somebody's name, because Pasquale and Pasqualina, that's a mouthful. Oh, I see I'm getting some kind of a stuff here in the chat. I'm not sure what that is. It looked like snowfall, but that's good stuff. All right. I do a whole thing on just remembering names. As a matter of fact, behind me, you can see some books with a red cover. The title of that book is called How to Remember People's Names. Take a wild guess as to what that's all about. One of the signature demonstrations I've become known for is being able to go into an audience when I'm one of the speakers and recalling the names of every person of my audience from the stage. Some of you that are sitting out there right now have actually seen me do it in person, because a year ago, when the Great Discovery had its grand opening in Orlando, that's exactly what I did. When it was my turn to speak for 15 minutes, one of the things that I did was I welcomed everybody, and I went around the room and I called every single person that I had met by name. And there were a lot of people there. Now, I take this to extreme levels. I'm not expecting you or even think that you'll want to be able to do something like that. But wouldn't it be great to go to a barbecue, to go to a backyard party, to go to a networking event, to go to a chamber of commerce, to take a Zoom class with a few other people and be able to recall their names and build your network of connections? Sure. Valuable stuff. So let me actually do a demonstration for you rather than me showing off about the stuff I can do, because quite frankly, I can do all kind of weird, amazing things and make me look superhuman. And it winds up being a big so what. I can make you think I'm cool. Great. What does that do for you? So rather than me showing off what I can do, let me show you something that you can do. Now, I don't want you to take notes. I just want you to listen. So we're going to go back to Grandma's advice. Pay attention. All right. So I'm going to give you a short list of things. Do your best to see how many of the things on the list you can remember. These are all physical objects. So basketball, baseball bat, swan, butterfly, sailboat, snake, cherry, candy cane, snowman, tennis racket. Take a moment. If you have a pad and pen, write down how many of those words you can remember. Just, I don't care if it's one, none. How many words can you remember on that list? I'm not going to repeat it. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you a magic trick, some mental magic. I need the I need the theme to that TV show. You didn't expect me to sing to you, did you? I still haven't. All right, here's the list again. By the way, how many did you get? In the chat, just jot it down. Let me see what we got over here. In the chat. Okay, I've got what James, basketball, baseball bat, swan, snowman. Okay, James, you did pretty good. That's right, Jeopardy, Kathy. Thank you. It's a show I almost never watched. 7. Wow. Nice job, Katie Augustine. Stacy, 5. All right. Okay. Some of you are going to do better than others. And remember, I'm speaking to a high performance crowd. All of you are already teachers. So I'm guessing, and I'm going to suppose and assume, I got to be careful with that. I'm going to suppose that you are all exceptionally bright people, that you're smarter than your average bear. But now I'm going to give you a magic trick, because I'm going to take that list of things that I did and I'm going to turn them into cartoons. So I have prearranged. Stacy says you started singing. I started right in with you. Good, good. Thank you, Stacy. All right. So the first item on the list was basketball. There's a basketball. And a basketball is number 0. Number 0. You see the 0 and the basketball. Number 1 is a baseball bat. You see the baseball bat and you see the number 1. So I've kind of combined them together, number 1 and the baseball bat. So you kind of see that I drew them together. So when you think basketball, you can think of 0. Number 1 is a baseball bat because it's that, just one stick. Okay. Number 2, and forgive my artwork. Okay. Happy little trees. With some of you will get that reference. Number 2, I drew as kind of a swan. So I want you to look at number 2 and see the swan. Number 3, I turned into a butterfly. I used to draw it as a butt, but my show's rated G. So number 3 is a butterfly. Number 4, this is one of my favorites, is a sailboat. You see the 4 is right there on the sail, on the boat. Number 4 is a sailboat. Okay, number 5 is a snake. Is the snake. Okay, you see the head of the snake coming out of the top of the 5 and the bottom of the 5, and the tail is all curled up. This happens to be a rattler. Number 6, this one's going to be one of the easiest ones, is a cherry. Here's the stem of the cherry, and here's the fruit. Number 6 is a cherry. Looks just like it. Number 7, you're going to love this one. This is a candy cane. Number 7. I know I should have used a red pen on this, but tough. Number 7 is a candy cane. Cool, right? Number 8 is the easiest one in the whole deck. You'll get this even before I say it. What's number 8, everybody? Right, come on. Number 8 is going to be a snowman. I got a snow woman around here somewhere too. Okay, it's a snowman. Oh, there she is. She was hiding behind the snowman, the snow woman. And number 9 is a tennis racket. And you can see the handle of the tennis racket, and there's the top of the tennis racket. Okay, so now let's do our list. So all you have to do now is think of the number. Well, what was the 0? Right, basketball. What was number 1? Oh, yeah, the baseball bat. What was number 2? What did I draw? This was kind of a weird looking one. I showed you that I'm not much of an artist. What was number 2? Yes, that's right, the swan. How about number 3? I was joking around about this one, and I showed you, I told you my show is rated G, but then I cleaned it up and I told you that number 3 is really the butterfly. Very good. And number 4, I told you that this is one of my favorites. Number 4 is the sailboat. Oh, I love Katie. She's really on top of it with me. Number 5, Garden of Eden type stuff. Here we go, the snake. All right, number 6. Come on, everybody got number 6 even before I finished saying it. That's right, the cherry. Number 7, of course, we had the candy cane. Number 8, we've got our snowman and snow woman. And number 9 is tennis racket. There it is. All right. Now, I just gave you something that is so powerful you don't even understand it. By the way, there are a lot of memory experts, so-called memory experts out there in the world. You missed Cherry, Katie. I don't believe it. There's a lot of so-called memory experts out there in the world. Almost none of the people who teach this stuff invented their own technique. As far as I know, I invented that. I call it cartoon digits. Now, this does a lot of different things for you. For some of you who may be familiar with a peg and hook system or a loci system, or some of you call it a memory palace, I have just now given you a 10 location memory palace where 0 becomes one of the locations. The number 1 becomes a location. You can see in your mind that whatever you put in the next to the number 1 becomes connected to a baseball bat somehow. And number 2 becomes connected to the swan somehow. And you're probably going to use your 0 as the 10th place just to make it easy to count. And so now what you've got is you've got a 10-drawer filing system that you can put things into. I'll explain what I mean in a moment. But for those of you with little children at home, I mean little ones that are maybe learning the multiplication times tables, maybe you've got nieces or nephews, or some of you might have grandchildren. Let me tell you, when I was in 3rd grade and I had to memorize the multiplication times tables, it left me with a permanent scar for mathematics. It was one of the most painful ordeals I ever had to go through. To this day, I'm 73 years old. I can still remember standing at the kitchen sink, washing and drying dishes while my mother quizzed us on the multiplication times tables. I hated that. And for years, it left me with a permanent dislike of mathematics. Now, eventually I overcame that. I've never been great at math, but now I can do things. I can add a column of figures in my head, and I can do a bunch of quick calculations in my head and all of that stuff. But man, I just think about where I could have been if I didn't hate arithmetic when I was a little kid. So how can you use the cartoon digits to help your children with such a simple thing as remembering the multiplication times tables? Well, when you tell a kid 8 times 8 is 64, that doesn't mean anything to them. It means nothing. They just memorize it. It's just words. They're okay, and they drone through it. But what if you talked about Daddy Snowman and Mommy Snowman eating cherries on a sailboat? Because 6 is cherries and 4 is sailboat. Now, it's like a cartoon. You could tell a little story about that problem. Now, you're not going to need this for every single calculation in arithmetic and in the times tables, because it's easy to do the 2 times. Most people don't really struggle with the 3s or the 4s or the 5. 5s are easy. Where do they struggle? With the 7 times tables, the 8 times tables, and the 9 times tables. That's where most people struggle. Nobody struggles with the 10s or the 11s. And so on the ones where the kids get stuck, now you've got a game, something fun, something funny that you can trigger them with. So Daddy Snowman and Mommy Snowman eating cherries on a sailboat. All right, what about 8 times 7 is 56? Well, 8 is the snowman again. And then 7, well, that's the candy cane. All right, so now we've got Daddy Snowman. He's out walking with his candy cane walking. Old, Grandpa Snowman is out walking with the candy cane walking stick. And he comes across a snake eating his cherries. Snake, number 5. Cherries, number 6. And so you can imagine that Daddy Snowman or Grandpa Snowman gets mad at that snake and he starts clobbering him with his walking stick candy cane. So Daddy Snowman with the candy cane, 8 times 7, 56, snake, cherries. And so you can have fun, you can make a game out of it. All right, let me give you some other practical ideas here. I know that in your cell phone you don't have to use it to memorize numbers and all of that,
Hey, Matt, just
because it's
really
all.
quick, we got Dr. Ivanka coming on here momentarily, so.
Okay. I didn't realize that I was already at that time. All right.
Yeah, that's
So
okay.
rather than telling you more stuff, so I've got this course. I just put it into the chat on how to have an incredible memory. So it's in the chat right now. I'm also going to give you another course over here. Hold on one second. Uno momentito, señorita. And that is this one here. All right. So I've given you two courses. The second one, the one I just gave here at the end, Triple Your Memory Power, that's free. And in the free course, I really go into a lot of details about the three causes of forgettery. So if you have absolutely no budget or you just want to, just try me out, go register for my free course on how to triple your memory power. You're going to be, literally, you will triple your ability to remember things. My paid course is $296. And so for some of you, that may be a little bit of a bite of the apple, and that's okay with me. But what I'm going to do to soften the blow a little bit is I will give you 2 hours of consulting with me, 4 half-hour sessions. I charge $150 an hour. So essentially, I'm going to make it a wash where you take my course and then you can call me on the phone. I'll give you my personal phone call. We'll set up a time and you can tell me what it is you're having trouble remembering. If it's some unusual name, some particular schoolwork you've got, I will work with you one-on-one in private for 4 half-hour sessions, or if you prefer, 2 one-hour sessions. So that is my pitch to you all. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your kind attention. I wish you all the habits of the rabbits. Go forth and multiply.
Thank you so much, Matt. Always a pleasure. Wow. Like I said, I always feel smarter when I get to listen to you. So thank you so much. And I put in the chat, I think that's a fantastic deal. So everybody should jump on that. So, all right. Well, we are ready to, unfortunately, no time for questions, but that's okay. Leave them wanting more. So it's always good. All right, and now we're going to switch to Dr. Ivanka, and I know she's here.
I am here, and that was wonderful, Matt. I love that. The habit of the rabbits.
Thank you, Ivanka. I
Awesome.
remember meeting you when we were in Orlando.
Absolutely.